Okay, this is our new audio console. So I want to just give an overview of the differences between this and their other board and some of the new features. You've got the clock here, the program meter. This is a meter for the cue, and then we've got a timer. So the timer is controlled over here. These are the timer controls. If you want to start the timer, here's the start-stop button. And you might want to use this to time an interview if you don't want it to go over a certain amount of time. Here's the stop, and if you want to reset it back to 0, hit the reset button. So those are the timer controls for that timer. You'll notice that the volume knobs that we have on our current mixing board up here now are moved over to this middle panel on the right. So here's the volume for the cue, this is the volume for the headphones, and here's the volume for the control room speakers. So this is the program going over the speakers in the studio, and it's labeled CR for the control room. So looking at some of the lights up here, here's the program light. So these should all be on to make sure that this is going over the air to the program channel. Now down here, these lights are a little different than on our current board in that instead of green for on and red for off, which we have now, red is on and yellow is off. And just, it's a little different. You can remember it as, red being just like the red on-air light. So red is a warning that that channel is going over the air. So that's how to kind of remember that now red is our indicator that that is on. Now on the microphones, if you want to move the microphone, we have this new shock absorbing microphone holder. And so if you need to adjust the microphone, you can move it by that's a little noisy. So be careful with that. But if you just move it here and adjust the tilt with this frame here without touching the microphone, then you can minimize the amount of noise if you're on mic that could be created by moving the microphone. So try not to touch the microphone. Try to just adjust it using the framework. We've got 4 microphones. Again, the mic 1 is the host mic on the far left. And then 2, 3, and 4, we've actually got spots for 5 microphones. But mic 2 will be this leftmost on the other side of the table. Mic 3 we don't have hooked up yet, and then mic 4 is on the far right. So here's the channel for PAL, which we don't have hooked up yet, but will by Sunday. We've also got CD 1, 2, and 3. Right now we don't have CD 1 hooked up. We've got CDs 2 and 3. So a couple of differences about the CD players. The main one is that the cue button is up here. So if you want to cue a CD, instead of notching it down, you actually just hit the cue button. And you can hear it coming out over the cue speaker, and you can see that the cue is metered here. And again, the volume for the cue is right here. So because this is a button, instead of sliding this down, it is possible to have it in cue and to go over the air at the same time. So be careful about that. Don't use this for the cue volume. If you're in cue, the volume's over here. And to get it out of cue, just hit that button. So again, the volume for headphone and for the control rooms are over here. We've got separate lines for Pacifica and the phone. Pacifica is here, and we've got 2 phone lines. We'll have a separate training live and maybe a video on how to use the phone system once we have that hooked up.